Polly Smith was born Frances Sutaw Smith in Louisiana in 1907. She was in the middle of 7 children, and they traveled around the state a lot, finally kind of settling more or less in Austin. As she got into her 20s and started studying, she became very interested in photography. So she went out and studied photography in New York City. And right after that, landed this huge job at the Texas Centennial Exposition in Dallas, traveling the state. So she traveled the state of Texas by herself, getting these shots of all areas of the state. I mean, she went as far west as El Paso, she was in the Piney Woods, she was in the Panhandle, she was in the Rio Grande Valley. So she crisscrossed the state doing that. And her photos, I think, still stand up to the test of time. They're still beautiful, evocative photos today. These photos are important because they show a different image of Texas in the 1930s. Texas, I think, still suffers a lot of the cowboys and cactus image. She was showing a much more modern version of Texas, a very diverse view of Texas for that time as well.
What a birthday party! A huge $25 million exposition in Dallas with all Texas playing host.
The Centennial was a huge moment for Dallas in particular and the state in really kind of coming out of the shadows and making a presence in the 20th century United States. And those photos helped sell that image. They helped convince people that this was a really good place to be and that it had a lot to offer. So they still stand up to the test of time as that moment of time when Texas was trying to change its image. Polly is important because her work was the first time that the state had consciously tried to go out and make this collection of photographs to sell the state, not just as a postcard view or whatever, but to actively sell the state as a destination for business and for tourism. When I look at the photos, I think they're still very beautiful and very evocative. They're very peaceful, I think. There's a serene quality to a lot of them. And thinking of that journey and that time in Texas, it just really kind of puts me in that mode of the 1930s and the excitement that was going on at that time in Dallas. I'm so glad that the Historical Society is having this exhibit of Polly's photos to share them with a broader audience so people can see for themselves, here's what this state was like in 1936. How much has changed, how much hasn't changed, how much of what we see is still relevant today. History is important, of course, for all people, so that we don't forget where we came from. Dallas just didn't spring up this banking oil town, that we had this path to getting where we are today. And Polly's photos show that. They're at such a pivotal moment in time for the state and for the city. It's wonderful that her photos are being shown to people so that other people can experience the artistry of her work, experience that time period, and get a sense of ourselves as a state and where we've come from all those years ago.